Today we're going to go over the auctions ending in the second week of October, anywhere from the 11th of October all the way to the 13th. This is also Tinley week, so it kind of slim pickings, so this will be a quick one. On that, I do apologize, we were going to originally do this as a live stream for the first time ever for this Friday show, which would have been, well, Thursday technically now. But some things came up and I had to take care of some personal business, so again I apologize for that. Originally we weren't going to release this video, well, now we are. So I thank my brother for staying up a little bit later to do that. Anyways, on to the snakes, and we're going to start off with a snake that we showed off, I think, in our last live stream, and that would be this fire red stripe yellow belly het desert ghost. There's a lot of really cool power here, and you can see like this really nice orangey. This is a proven breeder girl. She had just laid here in August. She's back on food. She should be ready for next season. You know, you start pairing her maybe late this year or very early next year or something like that, and she should be ready to go. You know, not everything is, you know, it looks like she's back on food. Yeah, this is the sort of animal that if you were in the Desert Ghost project would look very nice. These genes, red stripe, yellow belly, work quite well together. The fire does lighten it up a bit, but you just nice rusty type orange. So Desert Ghost is only going to really enhance and beautify that. I really would like to see this with some things like Leopard, spot nose, some stuff like that. I mean, heck, I'd like to see it with black pastel there, but if we do that, we've now created basically the Desert Ghost version of a Pompeii, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? Very beautiful animal. You can see she's the first one probably to go, I think, of what we're showing off here, and she's already got some good bids on her. Being a proven breeder, she's going to add immediately to someone's project when they're working the Desert Ghost. Very cool animal, very, very beautiful coloring. Just so nice. I really love this like rusty undertone. Very cool. I'd love to see the visual version of this in terms of Desert Ghost. Next up would be this pastel chocolate clown girl. Obviously just for the chocolate clown at a very good price right now. That's where I'm thinking, you know, getting chocolate into clown is always really nice. It's very beautiful. It literally lives up to the name of like melting chocolate, especially when you get the right genes into it, but you can't go wrong with a gene like chocolate. It's very nice. And again, I'm seeing an overload of genes that are very nice, but not enough of this stuff. You know, you see this at shows, the big shows and whatnot quite often, but I don't see it at a lot of these local shows and whatnot. You don't see chocolate and stuff like that. And I think that needs to change. I think that there needs to be more representation of these really cool genes that create these nice, cool blushing effects. Like I said, it's almost like it's melting chocolate just going down it. It's perfectly named gene. So a really cool one to work, and it's already got a visual clown in it. In this particular combo, I'd probably want to leave the pastel, but that's going to probably keep the price lower for you. And that's a really good thing. Pastel's not going to be in everything, obviously, that you breed this to. So you just I would not recommend breeding this to another pastel to create a super pastel chocolate. That wouldn't be the nicest, but there's a lot of really nice avenues you could do. When we actually type chocolate clown ball python, we can start to see a lot of what it can do without pastel in it. And you can see here is a proven chocolate clown right here. Very, very nice, even as an adult. Super clean, super dark and shaded still at the same time while being bright. The great contrast there. This is a lot of power. A chocolate lace clown. Wow, absolutely beautiful. And we can start to see some even the more insane things like a super chocolate clown, the dark night fire clown. These are absolutely beautiful animals. And this orange dream dark night, lots of hets going on here too, but definitely just trying to show off what the chocolate gene can do, and it can definitely set you apart and above in your project. So absolutely great opportunity when you're looking at this girl here. Our next up would be this clown het lavender albino, possible het pied, and this is very low bidding right now. $5 with under a day. It'll go the day you're watching this. No reserve from Young Reptile Company. There's a crazy amount of potential here. For one, just the clown het lavenders can create grails. And if you want to know what a grail looks like, this is a leopard grail right here. So just one other gene, lavender, albino, and clown. And they are insane. Just absolutely beautiful. And when we talk about what else we can do with this possible het pied, you definitely would want to send in a shed test to RGI on this one to test for het pied, because then you're talking about the holy grail. Insane contrast, bright, beautiful orange, stark whites, clown pattern. What's not to love about something as beautiful as this? It is absolutely gorgeous, and when you look at this right here, that is potentially what you're flirting with. I would bid with confidence in that sort of a project. That is something that's gorgeous. It is something that will blow your socks off and change your life forever Well, I don't know about that part, but it definitely will change your game in ball pythons. Of that, I assure you. Next up would be this clown double het sunset pied, and this boy here is gonna go for a good amount. Don't kid yourself. This is a crazy big find here. Honestly, on auctions, the fact that this does not have a reserve is a little surprising to me. Yes, it's a boy with 2 hets rather than a little bit more visuals, but for what the project it is, it's nuts that something like this is available and it's not possible het or anything like that. You can see there's good interest there, and it's already over $1,000. And there's a reason for that. It's because clown sunset pieds are ridiculous. Just an absolutely gorgeous animal in of itself, but a whole ton of power to create something so insane. Even the clown pieds are obviously awesome. They always have been, but the clown sunsets are awesome. The sunset pied are awesome. If you combine all 3 together, that is intensely beautiful. So if this is a project you want to work and it fits with what you're doing and it fits into your budget, absolutely go for it, because this animal will change everything in terms of what you're breeding and what you're creating, and it will set you into a completely different hemisphere of what you're creating. Get a load of this Pastel Enchi Leopard Blackhead Het Lavender. Now, I really like this, and I had to show it off because I think Blackhead works well with everything, quite frankly, but I really think it goes well with certain morphs, and Lavender is one of those morphs that it is just born to do. We have a Blackhead Lavender here, and it is insane. It's awesome. They're so contrasted and beautiful. Blackhead is a dark gene, no doubt. But when put with lavender, it really intensifies the brightness of it. Yes, I said it, because it creates a contrast. It enriches the coloring. So it really creates this brightening effect. It's beautiful. They're so rich in color, and you can kind of see that here too, honestly, just what it's doing to this. The Blackhead and the Leopard just work together so well, and they contrast the Enchi particularly well, because the Enchi is bringing in these nice oranges and just kind of subtly lightening it up. The Pastel is doing that as well, but the Enchi is what's bringing these burnt little oranges. So now you've got something that looks like chocolate and oranges. The fact that it's Het Lavender Albino is really, really nice. And the fact that this is basically nearly the size, it's about ready to breed. You could probably go mid next year if it keeps eating. An absolute stunning animal to be able to work, you know, this lavender type project. And as soon as I'm talking hitting this, I want to get it into other things too, like the dreamsicle. I really want to get it into the grails, like we mentioned earlier. Imagine that with the Blackhead. That's the perfect animal to eventually get into that double recessive, or even the holy grails. And apparently I'm reading exactly what this person wrote, because that's what they're mentioning. So really cool. And the fact that you don't got to wait a long time to breed her is even more spectacular. And we're not done talking about lavender albinos, because there's another one. Not as many genes packed in here, but it does have an additional het. This Blackhead Het Hypo Het Lavender Albino. So if you wanted to work that particular project, the Lavender Hypos, Blackhead is really good, is all I'm saying, with Lavender Albino. Incredibly good. I absolutely love it. I mentioned what it can do. I mean, just in a simple combo with just Blackhead Lavender, with a boy here that has a little bit of size to them, you can kind of see it looks almost hieroglyphic. It looks like it's like glowing in some ways. You've effectively created a gray animal with these neon, just oranges and yellows just shooting out at you. It doesn't even look real, it looks Photoshopped. But in certain other combos, you look at this and look how unbelievably bright and beautiful this animal is. Or with something like this. This is something more like what we have, and not in terms of being pied as well, but how these crazy starbursty type feels look. And that's effectively what you're looking at there. But an absolute gorgeous looking result from something that you can start working with an animal like this. Next up would be this Black Pastel Red Stripe Fire Het Clown Boy. And as you've heard me say many, many times, we don't like our hets to be in males, but that's okay when you're working with some really great things. This boy was actually produced from the original Pompeii and is actually a proven breeder that was gotten from Canova. You can see what he used to look like as a baby. He's shed in this last photo here, which it doesn't do it justice at all, because it looks like it still would be very, very nice looking. This animal, if you can get over the het clowns, can still do quite a bit for you. It has 2 of the ingredients for Pompeii in it, and comes from quality stock of being from Canova. So that's something to definitely consider if this is the sort of projects you want to work, and you want to work it on a budget, because I don't think this will go for a whole bunch. I think somebody will overlook this, sadly. Even though, other than being a het clown, it's still incredibly powerful. And I often say, if you've got some genes here that you want to work and get them into your projects, you can get a stopgap male, so to speak, basically being that you get them, you hit the combo you want, and then eventually you part with them and give someone else the opportunity to do the same thing that you did. Moving right into this tri-stripe male, there is a reserve price on this, but there's probably a good reason for that, and that's because tri-stripes are quite expensive. I don't know if this will go, because I don't know what the reserve price will be, but tri-stripes, as I said, are expensive, so if they kept it even in the remotely hemisphere of it, it will go for into the thousands, quite frankly. But I think tri-stripe, quite frankly, is a hugely underrated gene, and it's heavily not worked enough. Of all the animals that create a stripe down, I don't think there's really anything that comes close to tri-stripe. I quite frankly think all the striping genes, like genetic stripe, are also underrated. I think very much so. I think the Kiki project with ball pythons, which would be clown and genetic stripe, are just so overlooked. They make great, beautiful animals. So I see the same potential with something like this, only even more, because of how potent the tri-stripe is. It's much bolder and really just creates like essentially 3 stripes, being that this is kind of one right here, then you have the bold black, and then you have the same thing on the side. So, and you can see where they get their names, the 3 stripes right here being the bold black, and then kind of the other ones down the sides there. But just an incredible opportunity. If you can sometimes snag an animal like this, let's just say you really wanted this and started to breed tri-stripe projects, a male's a great way to go, because you can start creating your own hets, double hets even, if you breed it into clown or other such things. But let's just say you really want this animal, and let's say you were willing to go up to $1,000. You were just like, I want to get this on a deal, I'm only going $1,000. Don't type $1,000. Don't do that. Bid it up. So start with 125, something like that, and then keep going until you beat the reserve price, or you don't, and then you're good, and then you're out. And then the reserve price not being met, if it was never met, the auction's void. So just consider that when you're doing that. Don't just bet the farm right away. Next up, I wanted to go over the Hognoses. There's not a whole bunch, just this little bit right here. And I only have a couple that I really wanted to show off specifically, starting off with this purple line Extreme Red Snow. It's cool because in Hognoses, you can effectively get the pastel pink color easily. And that is pink. I'm sorry, I'm not even like pinkish. That is the color pink, and it is really, really nice. You have a lot of really cool genetics here at play. Being a snow, that would be the recessive genes of albino and xanthic, but you notice here, for us ball python breeders, we don't see these very often. And that's because these are polygenic traits. Everything that this animal breeds to will get a little bit of purple line and get a little bit of extreme red, because it's just that the way it works. It's a polygenic trait that's been worked into these animals through selective breeding and done very well when it comes to Hognoses. Polygenic traits are well represented, and I love them in this. But snows are really cool as well. I hope to create some of these someday myself, because I love this pinkish type color that you can get with those. And then the final one would be this Super Daddy, mostly because we showed it in our last one, and it's, I don't know, it's just a funny name. I don't know exactly what creates this combo. I won't lie that I'm well versed in all of the names, but I would assume that it is Conda and Arctic, maybe something to do with albino as well, and that it's called Super because of the fact that it's Super Anaconda and Super Arctic. And Arctic is kind of a frosty type color, but it's a little misleading because sometimes I've seen some really dark ones. And Super Conda is 2 copies of the Conda gene, and when you get 2 copies, it effectively just wipes the entire pattern off until you get to the head, and then the head somehow just maintains that. I mentioned in our live stream when I showed this one off that it is really nuts that a genetic can do that it can show off its awesomeness and just completely create a patternless animal, but then say, not near the head, you're normal. I don't get that. I love genetics. I absolutely love how they work and how they plug in and how they have rules, but then somehow can break their own rules. It's nuts. It's very, very cool. Not that I'm saying any rules are being broken here genetically, but just in general, I absolutely love seeing how genetics work in a form like this. All right, back into our ball pythons with this mahogany pied het lavender albino. So now again, we're back into the lavender albinos with a dreamsicle maker. This is a proven breeder boy, and he's got a really nice gene in him. If you want to create some really cool dreamsicles, mahogany's another one to nicely do it with. And I think that it would be even cooler because I love the Suma pieds, and that's super mahogany pieds. Now I don't know what a Suma pied dreamsicle would look like, and I don't know if that's even been attempted. I don't know if it would completely wash each other out. I don't feel like it would. You'd definitely get red eyes, obviously, but what would that do to that pattern? Would it just be really nice and dark? I feel like it would be. I think it might be really nice. I can't see see anything about one ever having been created, but like I said, I think it's just incredible. And I think that this would be a great opportunity regardless of what you're working. If you want to work dreamsicles, this would be a nice one to do it with. Mahogany is a wonderful gene, especially with pied. It really creates this nice, beautiful dark pattern, but then creates kind of some chaos in there, because look, it's like it suddenly can't decide. It's like I'm a dark snake, and then right here, suddenly look, it brightens up just ever so slightly, and then boom, here's a burst of orange. Look at the differences here on the back end. It really highlights itself. You have a nice little orange, brighter animal, and then dark. That's what Mahogany, I think, does. It's almost like flirting with a paradoxiness, but it's not paradox. It's just what it is. It's awesome. On to our first group of animals. This would be this female double het hypo clowns. You have a pastel het hypo clown and then 2 butter het hypo clowns. And butter is the same thing as lesser, by the way. Not for everybody, but if you wanted to get into animals, all of these animals are about 1/3 of the way to the size of being able to breed. And that's really nice to be able to work a project like this. If you get yourself a double recessive hypo clown with some extra genetics in there, you could start creating this project very easily for yourself. And you could probably do it on a budget. Honestly, you get 3 females right off the bat. If you want to start making animals but need a budget and you kind of want to start learning before you maybe dive in and spend a lot of investment money, it's cool and it's awesome to do something like this, because you don't have to break the bank to still create really cool animals. And this is what that could represent, you know, a set of animals that can get to size to you in a bit of a shorter time than buying just brand new hatchlings. You effectively probably shave off maybe about a year, maybe. That being said, every animal's different, and they're gonna behave and get to size and even choose whether they want to breed differently. So just keep that in mind, but this is still very ideal for someone who wants to get into a nice project for not a horrible price. On to our last 3, starting off with this Desert Ghost Het Clown female. This one's got a little bit of time left. I expect the price could go up more, but right now as it stands, this is insanely well priced from a very good breeder in Bull Python 101. This female here could pair well in your projects. I usually like going the opposite to them, on a budget yet still, so a clown het Desert Ghost, and just absolutely packed with really nice, cool genes that just bring out more contrast, like Leopard, like Blackhead. Even Pastel works so good with Desert Ghost. You don't need to fear or shy away from that in any way, shape, or form. It really is nice. Desert Ghost just really makes most everything nicer. It's very, very popular for a very, very good reason. And Desert Ghost clowns are very nice too. They are very bright, and there's a whole bunch of different projects you can go there that haven't really been completely explored yet. With that said, Desert Ghost was so popular, you know, they are very quickly filling in the gaps in terms of that, but they will always be awesome and they will always be sought after. And this girl comes from good quality stock and would be a great addition to most people's projects for Desert Ghost clowns. Speaking of Desert Ghost clowns, here's another one that is a clown, 66% het Desert Ghost. Another one you're going to want to send the shed test in to RGI to get that confirmed, but it would be another great addition to this project. It's the opposite, obviously, you know, being a visual clown, with the het being in the Desert Ghost this time, but another good way to kind of spice it up and create a little bit of a different set. If you had that clown, for example, you'd be getting all 100% visual clowns if you bred it to that male that you had that you were putting to the other girl. And if this does prove out as het Desert Ghost, it means that you wouldn't be getting as many visuals, and it means that when you didn't get a visual, you'd be creating again 66% Desert Ghosts. And that's probably how this one was created, honestly. But there's nothing wrong with that, because you got to start somewhere, and the chances of being het would be higher, obviously, going het to het. With that said, it's not the ideal decision, but you know, for a good budget, if you're trying to create a Desert Ghost clown project, these 2 girls here are great pickups, quite frankly. And then we're going to end it off here with an oldie but a goodie in a clown pied. I haven't showed a clown pied on this for a while. They're almost always available, but I wanted to show it here because this one's exceptional. Being a female, again, a really good size. Look how beautiful and orange and vibrant she is. Apparently this little loading thing is just a part of her pattern right now, but just so vibrant and beautiful. A great example of one. And being in a female, there's so many avenues you could go here. Obviously getting males into this with other genetics at play. Very, very nice. The bidding has started basically where they're probably comfortable ending with a reserve, which I like. And honestly, I don't see any problem getting this at all. It was just put up. I would be absolutely shocked if it does not get picked up then. So bid with confidence, because this is a really nice pickup and a really good one to have in a grill, because you still got your recessives visually, but you can sprinkle in a lot of things with males that you could probably get, quite frankly, a little bit cheaper, and have other genetics in there at play, so you can add even more to this beautiful combo. I hope you enjoyed the video. Again, sorry that we weren't able to do this as a live stream and that it's a little bit shorter, but we're going to leave it with that said. And if you wanted to check out a lot of the genetics that we spoke about today, you can actually check out our videos that we did on those right here and here.